Hey nobody, Future Tom here. Been back from Disney World for a couple of months now. Today's video is going to be me talking about everything that happened on the trip, the things I liked, the things I didn't like. Got video of me the morning after I got back. I have to go back to past Tom, who just got back from a whirlwind trip to Disney World and is going to tell you all about it. Last we left off, all right, so I have made it safely back home. It is 2:15 in the morning, Seattle time. I have been up since like 7 a.m. Orlando time, but I am exhausted. And I'll see you next time. All right, it is technically the next day. Later in the morning. It's about 11:30 in the morning. I am waking up, or have woken up. I've had some coffee, and I realized I kind of forgot to go over some stuff from the trip. I was going to talk about my highlights, favorite things that I feel like I missed, things that I liked, things that I didn't like. So I'm gonna film that now. I think that biggest highlight of the trip was Universal. Not that I don't love Disney, but I've never been to Universal in Florida, so there's a lot of stuff there that I'd seen online that I'd never done, never experienced. So getting to go there was a big highlight for me. I was kind of worried, and that's why I didn't really purchase the ticket for Universal until I was already in Florida, because I kept thinking, oh, I'm you know, that's time I could spend at Disney. It's not going to be a good use of my time and money. I should just stay at Disney, which I've always done, and hence why I wanted to push myself and go there. So glad I did that. So glad I spent the extra money. It wasn't cheap, but it was definitely worth it. I think the coolest ride that I went on there was Hagrid's. I probably would have really loved Velocicoaster, but didn't get a chance to go on that. Almost had a chance with their single rider, but the ride went down like probably 2 minutes before I would have gotten on it, because I was literally right there. And then I waited in that, I waited basically in the load station of the single rider line until the line had literally almost completely purged itself. Like, there was 20 people left in the regular line when I was like, you know what, this isn't worth it, I'm just leaving. Side note, there is a emergency exit door, a stairway, a bridge, and then another stairway to get to the other side of the track, to get to the exit side of the track. It is a expanded metal grate walkway and stairwell. You can see right down to the tracks and the trees and everything. And I would have loved to film just show what that looked like, because it was, I'm not good with heights, and that was probably the most thrilling part of that. That probably was scarier to me than anything on the actual ride would have been. But of course, phone and everything was locked up in my luggage. I didn't even have my watch on. I took my watch off for that. So yeah. But other than that, like, yeah, Hagrid's was probably the most thrilling thing. I am so glad that I got to go on Men in Black. I am so glad that I got to go on E.T. again. I have missed E.T. I wish it was still at Universal in Hollywood, but I'm glad that we have The Mummy down there. I wish I could have gone on The Mummy in Florida. I'm just gonna have to go back and do it next time, and maybe do Velocicoaster then. Getting to see Diagon Alley was amazing. Gringotts was really cool. I'm sure, what's the other ride in Hogsmeade? Harry Potter and the... I'm just going to put it at the bottom of the screen because I can't remember it now, but I've been on it in Hollywood. It's a good ride. I do remember being slightly nauseous with it, but I didn't feel the need to go on that, just like I didn't feel the need to go on Simpsons because I've been on that a bunch of times. Going on the Spider-Man ride was really cool. I think the queue for that I liked better than the ride itself, but the ride was good. If I hadn't wasted so much time waiting in line for two big rides that went down and I ended up having to leave, I probably could have gone back to Universal Studios Florida and gone on Men in Black and E.T. again and maybe done Simpsons. But yeah, if I go back for more than one day, I will definitely spend more time in Universal Studios Florida. I will also definitely go see Epic Universe. That looks amazing. As far as highlights for Disney, Tron was amazing. That was a really cool ride. I'm glad I got to go on it. Guardians Cosmic Rewind was amazing. I was surprised at how not nauseous I got with the ride vehicle spinning around, but because there's like a screen that they're pointed to, I think that the benefit to the spinning is that it keeps you pointed in the same direction, so it's not like spinning around and going in a direction. It's basically holding you still, so instead of going this way and that way, you're going sideways and sideways and sideways and sideways. So it kind of lines up well. There was a little bit of spin to it, but for the most part, it did not feel like I was spinning. It felt like I was facing a direction while moving horizontally through a scene. But still, that ride was really good. The queue is really well themed. It did break down on both of the times that I went on it, but luckily it came back up both of those times. I really wish it had a single rider line. That would have made it a lot easier. I think that's the reason why I went on Tron 3 times, is because it has a very effective single rider line. The fact that the cars have 2 rows of 3 does mean that there's a lot of even numbered parties that have an extra leftover seat, or even if it's a party of 5, there's an extra seat, so the single rider line just books through quickly. Same with the with Remy's. Each of those cars has 3 seats, so there's always going to be, or regularly going to be, a spot for somebody in one of those cars. Remy's was another amazing ride that I'm glad I got to go on. And then I'm also just glad that I got to go on a bunch of stuff that I've missed for years. People Mover, Carousel of Progress, lame, the quote-unquote lame things like that. I am kind of disappointed that I got there a few weeks too late to say goodbye to Tom Sawyer Island and Liberty Bell. I am a fan of rides like that. If you do check out my 2021 Disneyland vlog series, camera work is terrible. I didn't really know what I was doing. I don't necessarily recommend that series, but it should still be up on the channel. The thing that I noticed when I recently rewatched it is I went on Mark Twain both the first and second day, basically filmed the same things with 2 different cameras, one with my phone and one with my actual camera. Had the ability to go on whatever I wanted to go on. Only there for 3 days, and I chose to go on the Mark Twain 2 days in a row. Though another thing about that trip is the big ride, big new ride to go on then was Rise of the Resistance, and that was still using boarding groups, and I only got one boarding group for that. The first day I got the boarding group at like 1 in the afternoon. The second day I missed it in the morning because I slept a little too late, and then I missed it at like the 1 in the afternoon drop because I was talking to a cast member about stuff. I was just sipping a drink in Tomorrowland, waiting for the drop, and I was talking to a janitor about Disney theme parks, Imagineers. I think we were talking about Tony Baxter, and then he mentioned that it was probably time for the thing, at which point I looked at my phone and it was already like, a minute too late, and all those boarding groups were gone. But I think that conversation was worth it more than going on Rise a second time. But I'm glad I got to go on it this time. When I was there, I had a good experience with that. I got to go on Smuggler's Run. I have been on that ride, I think, 1, 2, 3 times now. First time I was the left pilot. The second time I was like an engineer on the 2021 trip. I think I went single rider. And then this time I waited in the regular line and just ended up, without even having to ask, being the right pilot. So now I've done both left and right pilot positions on that. Good ride. It's fun. Luckily I was the pilot when the other pilot was like 7-year-old kid from the family that was taking up most of the rest of the cabin, and then there was like a single rider in the far back, so nobody complained that we ran into a bunch of stuff and probably wrecked the ability to score more points. I have heard that if you're a bad pilot and you're with the wrong crowd, they might be unhappy about that. But yeah, lots of good points, lots of good food. I'm amazed at that one of the best things that I ate on this trip was was when I was watching Sunny Eclipse. I got the it's a vegan patty melt, so it's like vegan cheese, an Impossible patty. I didn't even realize that was a thing until I was watching a Fresh Baked Disney video like a week or two before I went on the trip. I knew I was going to go watch Sunny Eclipse. I figured it was just going to be like a terrible, hockey puck burger with no cheese on it that I would be eating while watching Sunny Eclipse. But I got really lucky that they have added some better food to that menu, at least as far as my dietary issues are concerned. And I was able to have a patty melt for the first time in a while, and it was actually surprisingly good. Though I think that the best food that I got was that first day at Flame Tree Barbecue. It was so good I had to come back and get it a second time. The only other meal that I wish I'd gone back and gotten a second time was the food I ate at Docking Bay 7. It was the I can't remember what they called it. I will put it down here at the bottom, but it was basically a pot roast with big French fries. There was probably some stuff modified from the main version to make it the dairy-free version. Like I think that it was like a cold slaw or something. There were a few things where cold slaw was swapped out for something else. Also really glad that I went to Sci-Fi Dine-In that night at Hollywood Studios. They were like, 10, 20 minute wait. You're going to be sitting at these picnic tables. And then 2 minutes later, I get a text. I go in and they seat me in the back row of one of the cars. I got an amazing, Impossible It's an Impossible flying saucer burger. I think that it's like that pretty much on the normal menu. I just order the dairy allergy one just in case. There were a few times I can handle some dairy stuff, but like I was going with the dairy-free allergy menu option because I didn't want to order something. Like if I'd gone with the regular barbecue stuff at Flame Tree, it would have been fine except for that coleslaw, which had dairy in it. And I wouldn't have known that. I would have eaten it, and I would have had some issues. So I'm, glad that I just went with the dairy-free one, which was like, nope, we're not giving you that. We're just giving you an orange, and you're going to be happy about it. So I'm sure that there were a few things where I probably, because there are a few things where I can have it, like if there's a little bit of dairy in bread, I'm usually okay. So I didn't really have any issues from the hot dog, but I noticed that there weren't really any hot dogs on the dairy-free menu, which leads me to believe there's dairy in the hot dog buns and they don't have a dairy-free version of the hot dog buns. Either that or it's the sausages themselves, but they do have Impossible sausages, which means, to me at least, that it is probably a bun issue and not a hot dog or sausage issue. But I did have the foot-long hot dog from Casey's Corner with fries and a Coke on that first night and didn't really notice any issues. I don't necessarily think that I have like a full-on allergy. Not to the point where I need an EpiPen, but it is a cow milk protein intolerance. Yeah, I might not necessarily have the same kind of food allergy that a lot of people do, but the option of having the dairy allergy menu for a lot of things was great. And then there were a few things that I was able to eat just normal. I had tacos at the counter service Mexican restaurant at the Mexico Pavilion in Epcot. And I just, asked for no cheese or whatever. I think the tacos came with cheese, but I just asked for no cheese, no sour cream, and that was just fine. Did not have an issue with that. That food was amazing. If I was there for another week, if it was a 2-week trip and I was taking things a little bit slower, I don't know if I could have handled a 2-week trip at that pace. But if I was there for another week, I would definitely be going back to the Mexico Pavilion for lunch. Side note, having a burrito at the Phoenix airport on the way home last night, that was probably the best burrito I've had in a while. Really good, nice, toasted, had Spanish rice instead of just like regular brown rice. They had that option. Also, like the tortilla was not just heated, but like toasted, like crispy a little bit, which is not what I normally get at a Taco Del Mar. I might have to find another Mexican taco burrito place nearby that does things a little bit better than our local Taco Del Mar does. But yeah, that was really good. Yeah, the food overall was just amazing. The barbecue at the America Pavilion was, it wasn't bad. It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't bad. I was a little worried when the thing that I wanted to get, the sampler thing, wasn't on the dairy-free menu, so I just went there in person and went up to the counter and ordered it. However, having the option of doing the mobile order for things like that was really nice, because then I could just put the order in for exactly what I knew I wanted and not have to explain things over and over again. But for what it's worth, every time that I did have to explain things, it was a breeze. Especially that one time at the American Adventure Pavilion, the guy pulled out the binder, pulled out the menu. He also had a binder with all sorts of allergy breakdowns. What was in what, so if there was any sauce I wanted to try and I had any dairy or had any allergies to what might be in a specific barbecue sauce, I could go through the ingredients in this binder. He also said that I could have one of the allergy chefs come up, or if I declined the consult and was okay just giving my order to him, because of the mildness of my allergy. And I'm going to be honest, if I ate something that had dairy in it, the worst thing that was going to happen wasn't going to be me needing an EpiPen or needing to go to the hospital. It was going to be me going back to the hotel early and just sitting in the room. And so the worst thing that would have happened was a waste of time that I could have spent going on rides. But the option of having all of those allergy-friendly offerings made such a difference. It made things so easy. I could just focus on being there and doing what I wanted to do. I think at some point I might try increasing my tolerance to dairy again to see if I can get to a point where I can just order what I want, because I do miss donuts and cheese. I really miss cheese. Having the fake cheese on the patty melt and the Impossible Burger at Sci-Fi Dine-In really reminded me how much I miss cheese. This video is already 23. This part of the video is already 23 minutes long, and it's mostly been me talking about food and cheese. Anything else that I really, really liked about this trip? It was nice to see the new stuff, the new central area at Epcot. The last time I was at Epcot, it was before they started doing the remodel. I kind of knew it was coming, and I think I did. I can't remember. Maybe I'm just misremembering that. But they did still have the Fountain of Nations, which was a nice central area. But the new layout is very nice too. I think that it's kind of growing in to itself. The trees are growing up, and it is kind of growing on me. So that's kind of nice. There were a couple of times where I was really annoyed by certain things. I have mentioned it to the camera. I think that I cut it out of the vlog, though. I don't really want to focus on negative things. But for the most part, things went pretty okay. There was one time where there was almost a fight that broke out, or kind of actually a fight that broke out in the line when I was waiting for Hagrid's the second time. I had put my phone in my pocket. I think that I was trying to get it charged up. And I was only showing like little clips of the progress of the line, because I'm not going to stand there talking to the phone for 45 minutes. And I'm not going to annoy the people standing around me by constantly having a camera pointed in their face. But a little bit further behind me in the line, like probably 20, 30 people behind me in line, there were these guys. The line was taking too long for them. It had kind of gone on a delay at one point and then come back. And I guess they were just done. They were like, you know what, we just want to go. And it's in the middle of this kind of cave switchback section. And it's either go all the way back or go front to get to the nearest exit. I'm assuming that they've been on the ride before, so they know how close they were to certain exits. So they were cutting in front of people, but not to get on the ride. They were trying to get through so they could just get to the exit and leave. They're like, nope, we're done. And got in an argument or fight with some people that thought they were cutting in line. There was a scuffle, a commotion, and then when I finally did get up to the point where the normal line merged with the express line, those kids that were trying to leave were talking to the team member who was in charge of that merge point. Because at that point, the people that had started the fight had entered that room, that next room where the final switchback before the merge point was. Yeah, they were pointing them out so that security could go talk to them. It's stressful being in theme parks. It's stressful being in long lines, day after day. And then when it appears that people are cutting in front of you, and that has happened a bunch of times, I usually try to look the other way when it happens, unless somebody very obviously is cutting in front of you. And even then, it's like just mention it to a cast member or a team member. But with rides like Hagrid's that break down or get delayed regularly for various reasons, especially Hagrid's, it's got complicated audio animatronics, several complicated track switches. There's the one where you go forward and up, kind of stall for a second, and then go right back. The track behind you switches. There's a quick track switch. And if that track switch doesn't line up perfectly and assure the computer that it is in the proper place and won't cause a derailment, if that doesn't line up perfectly, everything breaks, everything stops, and then you might have to evacuate people, or at very least wait for somebody to come and visually inspect something, rotate the switch, cycle the switch or something, and get it to line up properly. There's also another one where at the end of that backup section, there's a scene where some stuff plays out and the vehicle drops. Spoilers. But that scene plays out a little bit longer than they have until the next train comes. So they have two of those rooms. So there's another track switch there, and then there's the essential track switch of where you drop down to a lower level and then or you drop down to a lower level and go forward. So those are a bunch of complicated track switches where everything has to connect and line up perfectly. And if it doesn't, then it just stops the ride, because if it doesn't actually connect properly, it isn't safe. Like the vehicles could hit the edge of the track and then derail or immediately stop. So all those complicated things add together to cause things to back up and get delayed. So you're going to have long lines. So when you've got stuff like that happening with long lines, you're going to have small children with even smaller bladders who have to go, and adults with larger bladders who have to go. And so you're going to have people who had to leave their place in line, go to the restroom, and then come back, and the line is moved and their party's further up, so they're looking for their party. So you're going to have people pushing in front of you, and 9 times out of 10, I try to give them the benefit of the doubt that they are looking for their party. They were in line together and they had to go to the bathroom. I remember years ago, in 1997, it was the first time we went. I've been to Disneyland a bunch of times. First time was in '88, second time was in '92, and then my parents got divorced, and the first time that my mom, brother, and I went together after that divorce was in '97, and that was the first time after Indiana Jones opened. And when Indiana Jones opened, the year that it opened, I think was 94 or 5, I heard that the line stretched, filled every switchback in that ride building, or in the queue, went all the way down the streets of Adventureland, out towards the hub, down Main Street, all the way towards the train station, and then switched and came like halfway back up Main Street. When we went in '97, it only stretched out to the entrance of Adventureland. But that was like a 5-hour wait, and we waited in it and went on it once. And I think there is a bathroom, but that bathroom is like halfway through the queue that they built. So if one of us had to go to the bathroom, especially at that point when we were younger kids, I was in high school, my brother wasn't, so if my brother had to pee, my mom would have had to take him to the bathroom. And either all three of us would have had to leave the line, or like one of us, like me, would have stayed in line, and mom would have had to come find me with my brother after they'd been to the bathroom. I think there is a bathroom, but like I said, it's almost most of the way through the line, if you're waiting that long for it. Other rides, they've built in bathrooms. I think Avatar Flight of Passage has a bathroom in it somewhere in the queue. You can step out of line Usually you can get the attention of a cast member. It might get iffy if you're waiting by yourself. They might hold your place at that point in line and have you just get back into that point in line. I'm not sure. I don't know how that works, but I do know that people have bladders and sometimes they need to be emptied, and sometimes a line is 5 hours long, and people are going to push past you to get back to their group, to get back to the point in line where they technically are. Fighting and arguing with people over some perceived attempt to cut in line is not a good idea. But then there are also people who just, play the game and act like they're trying to find their mom or the rest of their party. Guys in front of me in line at one point were making fun of that, like, oh, just point and wave and look forward in the line as you walk past people, and you can cut in front of everybody. At least that's what I'm assuming they said. They were, I believe, Swedish and not speaking English, but I very much got what he was saying. They did speak English to other people. I'm not saying they couldn't speak English, but it was a father and son. They're definitely not going to speak their non-native language to each other. But, yeah. But everything else on the trip was great. I loved having the dining plan. I have never paid for the dining plan. I've only had it for free. I do have a collection of rapid refill mugs. The purple one is from 2017. We didn't have the dining plan that year. We just bought the mugs because we were there for like a week and a half. Almost as long, or a little bit longer than I was in this time. In 2018, they had a free dining plan deal. That was the Christmas-themed burgundy-colored one. So we got that with the dining plan. And then this year, I booked the trip early in the year to get the free dining plan. I don't know if it's necessarily saving money, but if you get it for a deal, like especially if it's a longer trip, if it was a 3-day trip, I'm sure that there would have been other room discounts that would have saved me more money, but I was there for 9 days, 8 nights, so you get one for each night of stay. So 16 counter service credits and 8 snack credits. That's 2 meals per day, 1 snack per day, for the cheap one. I could have paid to upgrade it, but I didn't really see the need for that. I will try to put on the screen how much I actually saved based off of how much I would have spent on food during the trip. However, I'm sure that if I was paying for the food, I would have gotten the cheapest thing on the menu instead of the most expensive things, which is the nice thing about the dining plan, especially when you're getting it for free. You're paying the same thing for the cheap thing and the expensive thing. So the $18.99 quick service meal at Flame Tree Barbecue cost me the same as the $12.99 breakfast at my hotel. So what you spend it on determines kind of how much you save, but at the same time, I probably wouldn't have eaten at Flame Tree Barbecue twice, or if I did, I wouldn't have gotten the most expensive thing on the menu. But it did save me a decent amount. I do know that the hotel, the park tickets for my 8-day park hopper pass and hotel park tickets and that free dining plan, that total came to around $2,300. It would have been around $2,900 or 20. It would have been closer to $3,000 if I had my friend with me. However, since he wasn't able to come, I took him off the reservation, and that saved the cost of his park tickets And I don't know if there was an additional cost for him on the room. Also would have cost more for airfare, but I actually got a decent deal on that. $290 round trip on Southwest. As you saw, some long travel days and some very very grueling waits for that last connecting flight to take off in Phoenix. I mean, it wasn't the worst. At least it wasn't like the middle of the day in Phoenix. It was at night when it had cooled down to like 80 something degrees. But still, at that point, I just wanted to go home. But all in all, the trip was a lot of fun. It was relaxing at times, exhausting at others. I very much am glad that I have today and tomorrow off as well from work so that I can rest and recuperate, because my feet are killing me. These dogs are barking. I am actually about to head to the store right now and buy some Epsom salts and a foot bath. I gotta go get that so I can soak my feet and relax. And even though it is overcast here in Seattle and a balmy 63 degrees. It is nice. There's a little bit of sun. Maybe I will get lucky and there isn't much of a tan line from the Magic Band, but maybe it'll kind of fade a little bit more. All in all, it was a great trip. I'm gonna send it back to Tom from last night to finish closing this out. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for following along on all these adventures on this travel vlog series. I've got some other videos that are going to be coming out that I filmed while I was there. So if you liked it, click the thingy. If you want to see the next one, click the other thingy, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.